order the beer board meeting of Tuesday, April 1st, 6:45. First order of business is to have the roll call.
Crosby Page.
Present.
Jacob Puckett.
Here.
Brian Hill.
Here.
Scott Glover.
Here.
I'm here too.
Scott Reed.
Next order of business is the minutes from the March 4th beer board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Does anybody have any questions about the minutes? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are on record now. There's nobody on the public comment sheet. The purpose of the meeting tonight is to consider the violation of selling to a minor at White Bluff Grocery, 2650 Highway 47 North, here in White Bluff, Mr. Osama Do, as owner.
I'm his partner.
Okay, would you like to come up, please?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to turn it over to you, Councilor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What was your name, sir?
My name is Adam Ankari. I'm his partner.
Okay. Are you one of the holders of the beer permit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you understand why this meeting's being held?
No.
Okay. So under White Bluff Town Code, sale to a minor.
Yeah, I know that. I know what happened.
Okay.
1 year.
So when that happens, that's a violation of town code, specifically under the beer permit section. And when a violation of the beer permit section of the code comes, when it occurs, it comes before this board to review whether or not the license should be suspended or a fine imposed. So my first question to you is, do you understand that the allegation is that a employee of White Bluff Grocery sold to an individual under the age of 21?
Yes, the guy was just working a part-time.
Okay.
He's a student in college, and as soon as this happened, first of all, I fired him right away. And also, I invited the gas company to change some in the system. You can't pass any beer without have the ID and put the date of birth on it. That way, that's alone underage, or you can sell it. That way, nobody can make mistake anymore.
So you're admitting that the sale to a minor did occur, but you addressed it by changing your system and firing the employee?
Yeah, and actually surprised me he did that. He said, when I asked him, because I told the employees, I have another business, and I told the employees, if you sell to underage, you got fired right away. I don't need to sell, even if you make $1 million. I don't need anybody to sell to underage. I have a kid. If someone sells to my kids, I'll be so mad. I don't want to do someone to my kids, to other kids. It's not about making money, about to save our kids, you know.
No, I understand. I guess what I'm really asking is, are you contesting that the sale to a minor occurred, or do you understand that it did occur and you're agreeing that it occurred?
Can you explain to me?
So the evidence that's been presented so far, and we have the officer here to testify, is that someone under the age of 21 bought beer at this store. Do you understand that?
Yes, that's what you told me.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have no reason to refute that or say that didn't happen?
No.
Okay. Are you or your partner a member of the Responsible Vendor Program in Tennessee? It's a program offered by the Tennessee ABC where you get training periodically.
No, we have the ABC before.
Sure, I'm saying, but specifically the Responsible Vendor Program.
No, I don't know.
If you don't know, that's okay.
I don't know.
The code acts differently if you're in the program or not, so I have to ask you that question. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the board before they deliberate?
sorry for what happened. And I'd like it to happen. And it surprised me. I have business for 20 years. This is the first time one of my stores got caught with underage.
Madam Chair, you or any other of the beer board members can certainly ask any questions. If you don't have any, I'll kind of go over how the rules work.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do, if you don't mind. So I appreciate that you dealt with that employee. I think that's most appropriate in some shape, form, or fashion. And could you provide clarity on the change of training that you had moving forward so that way this type of incident doesn't happen again? What have you changed in your employee training so that way they don't do this again?
Okay, like what I told you, if you go there now to buy beer, you have to have your ID in his hand and type your date of birth, like you go Kroger or Publix or anywhere.
Okay.
When you try to buy something, you have to have your ID to enter the system. The system lets you sell it, it means he's over 21. That way you don't make mistake anymore. And the people work right now, they're already with me for years, and they already have enough experience. They can tell when they're coming in, he's underage or is old enough.
So is this a new system that you didn't have before?
No, the system when I buy from the old owner, he didn't have it. I have to buy it from, it's called, it's like software, you download it, and also a year, you pay like almost $2,000 something to update it, and also update everything. And we have this part of the system because we didn't have it before, you know. I try to, you know, this will never happen again.
Sure.
Yeah.
And of course, the only thing I would encourage moving forward, of course, I can't in any shape, form, or fashion demand or anything of that nature, but I just simply from person to person would encourage. We have a wonderful program provided by the state of Tennessee. I would encourage you to look into it because not only can it help training of your employees, but also it would actually immediately, per our code, help you.
Great.
So, again, I would just encourage you person to person to look into that, but it can't affect this instance. I just wanted to...
But to help me for the future.
For the future, yes, sir. I would just encourage that.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. You can have a seat. All right, I'm just going to read you the code section that's applicable here. The beer board may suspend a permit holder's license for a maximum of 30 days for a first offense. This is a first offense. In the beer board's discretion, at the time it imposes a suspension, so that's the first thing you're going to decide is how many days is the suspension. It may offer the permit holder the option of paying a civil penalty not to exceed $2,500 for each offense. For the sale of someone under 21, it's $1,000 for all the other violations, so this one's not like the others. So what has typically happened in the past is a time period is picked and an alternate fine amount is also picked, so they can either take the suspension or pay the fine within 7 days. It's up to the holder, but those are the two numbers you would need to decide tonight based upon the violation and what you heard. So again, from 0 to 30 days is sort of that suspension range, and 0 to $2,500 is the fine amount for the alternate to the suspension.
I have a question.
Okay.
Why was there a confidential informant sent to his store?
I don't know why. I think that'd be a question for the police, but ever so often these operations occur to check to see if businesses are checking IDs.
I'm just curious to know if this is not this is something that the police department thought was happening, or if it's just a normal check.
My understanding is that they did multiple businesses, and this one did not pass, but I won't speak for the police chief if he wants to tell you why this operation occurred.
Chief, would you mind speaking to answer his question?
We have had numerous complaints about alcohol sales, vape sales coming from his business. We did have a confidential informant that visited all the stores that were selling alcohol, and his was the only one that did sell to the minor.
If I may ask, if I'm permitted, Chief, would you have a recommendation on what you feel would be most appropriate for this specific instance?
I'm sorry, I do not. I'll be leaving that up to y'all.
Fair enough.
That's what the beer board's for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I myself would prefer the 30-day suspension, and then if we want to discuss the optional fine, I'm open to discuss that, but I think the 30-day would be appropriate.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion, yes.
So is that a motion for a 30-day suspension?
I make a motion for a 30-day suspension.
Okay, we have a motion for a 30-day suspension. Do I have a second?
I'll second. I would like, do we have to provide the option of a payoff or not?
No, in the beer board's discretion, at the time it imposes suspension, it may offer the option of paying a civil penalty not to exceed $2,500.
Are y'all open to that idea? I'm not opposed. Can I ask, the civil penalty fine, where does it go?
It goes in the general fund.
In the general fund?
I don't know.
Christie, you think differently, but it's typically always done in the general fund.
I don't know if this would have any bearing, but just as a precedent, the last ones that we did offer them either or.
And typically, it's, for both, it's the max, so typically you'd see 30 days or 2,500. I don't remember the beer board doing something less than 2,500 for a cell to a minor.
We didn't.
I have a question of which would be the most detrimental to his business? If he can't sell beer for 30 days because a new employee didn't follow the rules.
I imagine that depends on his business and how much product they move.
Yeah, there's no way to know. The last two, I remember, they were very similar. It was the same 30-day, 2,500, one paid, one locked the beer fridge in the back for 30 days. I mean, they get to make that call for their business. But I don't know which one's going to be more hard.
I'm more apt to give the lesser detrimental to his business because unfortunately, sometimes you can't control what your employees are going to do or not do in this case.
I'd also say that I would like to give him the choice because it isn't first. Are there increased consequences for second offenses? Okay, so.
You could lose your beer
Right.
permit, period.
Is there anything between losing and the fine of 2,500 and 30 days? Is there 60 and 5,000? Is it?
The civil penalty does not increase. If there, I'll let you all know, for multiple offenses, after the first one within a 5-year period, you actually lack discretion. You have to suspend for a period of a minimum of 30 days, and it can go up from there. So the suspension period goes up for a second offense in a 5-year period.
I agree. I like that, giving the business owner the option of the 2,500 or the 30. That way he can decide which one is more palatable to him, because I do understand sometimes you get a bad employee, but at least that way there's still a consequence. But I'm a fan of the maximum under end. Yeah.
Do we need to do a amendment to the motion?
I think that if someone wants to make a motion to amend to add the option of 2,500, that would be appropriate, or whatever number the board thinks is appropriate.
Brian, would you amend it, or?
I'll do that, yeah. I'll amend that motion to be a 30-day suspension or the option of a $2,500 fine.
I'll second.
Madam Chair, you have a proper first and second of an amended motion.
Are there any questions about it?
Does it have to be 25? That's just the max?
That's the maximum.
It's been the maximum and the precedent right now. But of course, we can.
So, I agree in offering a choice. If we think that the choice should be between $2,500 and 30 days, or maybe a lesser dollar amount, I'm more apt to go for a lesser dollar amount.
You can make a motion to amend the amount.
trying to get a feeling to see if it's worth my breath.
Gotcha. I'm pretty well stuck on the 2,500,
Yeah.
honestly.
Based on precedent, I am as well as I also, I mean, obviously, there's been calls for officers to do their job, and I think that there should be consequences to follow when the rules.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes to either suspend for 30 days or pay a $2,500 fine within 7 days. Is there anything else?
That's it.
I'll move to adjourn the beer board.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Your board meeting's adjourned. Yeah, I can do that.
You about did.
I was so bang with that.